what we can get from Noah here, in so many translations, he walked in habitual fellowship with God. Okay? You know that we have the Spirit of God living on the inside of us, and we don't really take notice of him through most of the day. So what we do is we could have a really good quiet time in the morning, and we can pray and we can have time with God. But as soon as we get in the car and traffic and emails and meetings, we kind of like just switch off to that, and then we kind of get home in the evening and maybe just collapse or go to the next thing. But I always say we have a superpower living on the inside of us. Yeah? You know, if you can just activate and listen to him a little bit throughout your day, that's a really good habit to form, because suddenly your day will start looking differently. And the things that you put your time and effort into will start turning out differently. Yeah, because you won't be doing it in your own strength. You don't need to come home and collapse because you've spent all of your energy. There's a rest that the Bible talks about that we have as believers. Yeah, and that is tapping into that power that's on the inside of you. There is an old evangelist. She was a woman. Her name was Christine Kuun. I love studying Christine Kuun. I've always been fascinated with her. And she says consistently in most of her preachers that the church is not tapping into the Holy Spirit in their lives. And we would look so different if we did. Okay? So what does your habit look like during the day? Do you have your time with God, which is good, because I can probably say half of Christians don't even have that time with God. They don't give their first part of the day to God. So that's good. But I'm saying, what is the next step? Is it your habit to practice and tap into that power on the inside of you? And you know, when I'm discipling people, I just make it really easy. It's really practical. If you want to start like getting used to how to hear the Holy Spirit, when you're driving home, say, Holy Spirit, which route do you want me to take home? Whatever you think he might be saying, follow it. When you go to the supermarkets, Holy Spirit, and this sounds ridiculous, I know, but you know what? This is really practical because people struggle to do it. Which branch of milk should I buy? Which supermarket should I go to? I know it sounds ridiculous, but just stop practicing. Like whatever you think he's saying, just go with it so you can start becoming sensitive to what's inside of you. Because the reason why you're not sensitive is because you've never practiced and you're not in the habit of tapping into that thing. Okay, so I want you to practice, tap into that thing. Because guess what? When you're tapping into that thing in your day-to-day lives, you're going to run into somebody, okay, or you're going to go to work, or you're going to have a coffee with somebody. And because there's a sensitivity to that inner power you have within you, that Spirit of God might say, you know what? Ask this person a question. I've had it when I went to coffee with somebody. I remember I was in South Africa. I went to coffee with somebody, and I couldn't wait because I was in South Africa. I'd been in Dubai for a year. I wanted to tell them everything. And when I was driving there, I felt the Holy Spirit said, I don't want you to talk about yourself at all tonight. And I was like, what do you mean? I have a lot to say. I really have a lot to say. Like, I need to get it out. Like, I want to talk about what you have done. And the Holy Spirit was like, I don't want you to talk at all. So I went, and I literally didn't take long. I didn't say much, and I was kind of just probing her, like, what has been happening. And suddenly it was like a dam broke. She was in tears. She started sharing where she was. She was in a very, very difficult place in her life, and she needed somebody to help give her guidance. And she even said, I had no plan of coming here tonight and talking about this. I just wanted to hear what was happening in Dubai. I said to her, tonight, we're not talking about me, and we're not talking about Dubai. We're talking about what's happening with you. And I was able to talk. The Spirit gave me stuff to say to her that changed the entire trajectory of her life. Guys, if you can be sensitive to that Spirit inside of you, you can change the entire trajectory of somebody's life just by starting to practice. Just by putting that habit inside of you. I'm going to tap into this, and I'm going to try. I'm just going to try stop becoming sensitive to it. Because when you give the Holy Spirit that space, you give him space to speak to you through the day. You give him space to prompt you through the day. You give him space to open up conversations you wouldn't have had. I would not have had that conversation if I didn't feel like the Holy Spirit telling me to not say anything that night.